Third time is a charm, they say. Third time is a charm, they say. So, we are, for people listening on the podcast, you didn't miss much the first two times. For people that are tuning in on the podcast, you are just hearing the third attempt at us getting these technical difficulties in line for me on or joining on IG. Thank you for bearing with us. And we're back. Somebody said, yes, exactly. Because I got to be able to see your comments. You know what's funny? After I shut this down, I was like, all right, let me go over to Pandora real quick. I don't want to plug Pandora. I'm not promoting them. But my headphones start working again. I think it's IG. Don't treat me like this. I think it's IG.
So they stopped working again?
Yes. I mean, music came in crystal clear, even better than before. I'm like, imagine better. But anyway,
Oh, Uncle
yes, now
IG.
that we've done some housekeeping, thank you, beautiful people, for coming back. Let's jump right into it. Today is Beyond Bring Your Own Topic. I didn't even know it was, I didn't even know it was like that until like we just started this show. But anyway, let's start off with a question first. Somebody says one topic and one offer each. Oh, okay. That was Julian. All right. Let's see. We can bring on Stacy. We can bring on Julian. All right. Peace.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes,
Hey,
it's so
Julian.
good to be with you guys.
Hi, y'all.
Hey,
I'm
Peace.
Stacy from Arkansas.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi.
Stacy.
I wanted to jump on here
Wait.
and talk about the Ye and Kyrie
Waka, waka.
Irving thing. Can y'all hear
Sorry
me
to
okay?
cut you. Sorry to cut you. So you're from Arkansas. What are your 3 zodiac signs?
Okay, well, I can only really tell you my sign, which is Aries. So I
Okay.
don't know what the other two would be.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Did he want to add anything? The
Go ahead.
other guy? No? Okay.
regular, you could say. We got his info.
This is my dog Bailey, by the way.
Hi, baby.
All
I
right.
wanted to jump on here and talk about the Ye and Kyrie situation. And I really feel like where we are in the timeline as far as like the Lord demolishing systems. I am a follower of Christ, and I believe that God is using Ye to break down a lot of entrenched corruption. And I think a lot of people in the body of Christ, in the larger body of Christ, they have they're really afraid of the whole anti-Semitism thing and of being called an anti-Semite and all of that. And I don't have a problem with calling all of that out because I'm very much an advocate for a free Palestine. I've been over to the West Bank. I have many Palestinian friends. I, you know, I went over there to basically educate a lot of Christians here in America because so many come from this dispensationalism background where they believe that the current earthy Israel is the Israel of the Old Testament, and it's not. And unfortunately, that has caused a lot of pain and suffering, and I mean, for Palestinians, because they give a free pass for the earthy carnal state of Israel to continue to do what they're doing to Palestinians. And so with the whole Ye situation that has come, that he's touched upon about, decades of corruption with executives that self-identify as Jew, that they do need to be called out. And I believe that we as Christians need to stand with him and not be afraid to take on that phrase, that word, anti-Semite. You know, I've been called a lot worse because being over there in the West Bank, I mean, I literally wear it as a badge of honor that they call me jihadi girl. Okay. So, I mean, it's like, look, you can call me whatever, but I know who I am. I'm a follower of Christ. I'm going to stand on the side of truth and justice. And I'm going to always stand with marginalized people because that's who Jesus stood for. And I think there's, you know, the one thing that I wish that more Christians would do is that they would say, look, and because when I post and when I write stuff, I mean, even on my story right now, if you go to my story on my Instagram, you'll see, you know, that one of my comments on that whole Kyrie Irving Nets, you know, that whole thing, I don't know if y'all are aware of that, where they all came together with the ADL and said, all right, we're going to, you know, give $500,000 to take on discrimination, blah, 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 which Kyrie Irving, I wish he would have never agreed to that because he didn't say anything wrong at all. And he's free to have freedom of speech. And so what I said in those comments, and of course I'm probably shadow banned. I mean, I'm right, but you know, sometimes I'll get like some people that will like my comment, you know, if I'm not shadow banned, but I can always tell what I am. And but I mean, I believe Israel has tapped my phone. I'm not kidding when I say that, because I had my phone taken from me when I was over there by the Israeli government. So that could be why you might have had like problems with your ear thing, because I joined in and maybe that could have happened. I don't know, but that's kind of a conspiracy. But anyways, but what I was going to say is that I had said I wish that the ADL and rabbis and synagogues would literally call out the bad executives and say, you're not going to do this in our name. You know, for the quote, you know, for those that self-identify as a Jew, but yet continue to do corrupt and evil behavior with what they're doing with the contracts, you know, to musicians and athletes and artists and actors, they need to be called out on that. And the rabbis, the ADL, all of them need to say, look, you are not going to give Judaism a bad name because of your corrupt and evil actions that have financially raped hundreds, if not thousands, of artists and athletes and musicians over decades. And so that's what I wish would happen, because what, you know, the greater harm that will happen, as we have seen history, is that when the Jewish community does not take on their own and they don't ever call out their own, then what happens is that the corrupt that are in positions of power, then, you know, collectively, the whole entire community, Jewish community, then gets, you know, they get targeted, and they have got to.
I just let
Yeah.
you know, 45 seconds.
Okay, well, I was just saying they've got to call out those executives that self-identify as Jews, and say, okay, if you're gonna self-identify as a Jew, then we're calling you out and saying this is wrong, and you do not represent us, and we don't want any part of that, and you need to make it right, all the things that you've done wrong. So that's what I wanted to say, and I wanted to hear y'all's thoughts, and thank you for hearing my thoughts.
Sharing. I had you on mute because I didn't want my sound and like interrupt you. But thank you for sharing. That was a lot. I don't know. I'm trying to think what to respond to. I mean, a lot of it is true. You know, the tapping, the tapping in on certain calls. I mean, that came in with the Patriot Act. So it's, you know, it's like more so everybody that's being listened to. And yeah, you can say it's like delicious, um, but they will say it's for like protecting, listening out for like potential threats for homeland security. Maybe somebody say I'm going to blow up this place or whatnot. So although, you know, I like to look at both sides of like, okay, this could be true, but based off of what has happened in the past, you know, we see that this power has been used for this. So although it's been introduced on a certain foundation for national security, those who know what it's really being used for, you know. So I like to critical think. I don't always like to jump on the, you know, pessimism side or saying like, oh my God, they're using it for this. But, you know, I like to observe and say like, okay, yeah, we see what they're really using it for. Um, as far as Israel, I can't really speak a lot of, you know, about that at this moment.
Yeah.
I can speak a lot about, you know, the real, I don't want to say real, but if you see the movie that just came out, Black Adam, right?
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay. Well, just the title by itself, I'll let you ponder on why you think they called it Black Adam, um,
Mm.
and what that has to do with Jews. Uh, and, you know, the whole anti-Semitic thing, that word Semitic, anti-Semitic, that comes from the sons of Shem, the people
Yeah.
of Shem. So you have to look back and trace who historically have been named sons of people.
Yeah, exactly. The Semites are not only they are Palestinians, they're Arabs, they're Africans, they're even Indian and Pakistani, Syrians from the Levant. So you know that term Semite is Jews do not hold a monopoly on that word, and one of the biggest groups of uh, groups that are targeted, if you really want to be honest, with anti-Semitism, are Palestinians. You
Right,
know, I mean, they're under apartheid right now. You know, they're under a brutal apartheid system that America has continued to fund. You know, to the tune of $80 billion.
mhm,
And, you know, you can tell I'm very passionate about this because I believe that the timeline that we're seeing right now with the whole yay thing over here in America is happening at the very same time. I'm not sure if you are aware, but what's going on in Nablus right now. And, you know, literally Palestinians are being completely taken out of their homes. Um, there's been the largest amount of killing of Palestinian people in 1 month over the that has surpassed the whole entire year of last year. So they're doing the Jewish settlers are being allowed to go into Palestinian cities in the West Bank and completely like go into a person's home and take it over with impunity. They are allowed to do it with the help of the Israeli Defense Forces. And so I think it's interesting that this all is happening, like while this is being done over here and while he is taking on, I mean, a serious, like he is little David standing up to Goliath, literally. And it breaks my heart to see that
yeah.
enough
Um,
people are standing with him on that kind of stuff.
right. So, Julian, please jump in as anytime you want to. But one thing I will say, as far as anytime you say anything against the so-called Jews, they say it's anti-Semitic and they'll try to shut you down. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same in the same breath, they'll promote a song from
Yes.
young Pistol 33, whoever the new
Mm-hmm.
target is, and they'll be like, kill black people, kill
Yeah.
murder niggas, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll be like, oh my God, this is music, this is art. You're a legend, bro. But
Mm-hmm.
if you were to say kill Jews, they'll be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, hang them,
That's
right?
right.
You can't. So
That's right.
you have to see, in order to know who's in like quote unquote control, you have to see who you can and cannot talk about or make jokes about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But they would do everything like we were talking about last week. They'll do everything to promote our so-called history, slave films,
Yes.
you know, the reason why you see Nicki Minaj, and I'm taking this in a whole nother direction.
Yes.
The reason why you see like Nicki Minaj and whoever the new twerk girl is in these thongs and bikinis is because that goes back to slavery days. You know, like they've been promoting us this way for the men and the woman, and it's still modern day programming, modern day slavery, modern day code. Those codes program today, and
Yeah.
that's acting the same, and that's why the prison industrial complex is tied to Hollywood, is tied to the music industry, because
Mm-hmm.
they know if they promote a certain image, it's going to get people to act a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, and they get paid to keep their prisons filled. And the same people that invest in the prisons are the same people who throw people in jail who talk about anti, you know, Semitic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So,
I agree with everything that you've said. Everything. Yeah.
yeah, Julian, please jump in, my brother, because I know you got a lot of bars.
Oh, thank you. All right. Okay. Uh, Kanye stuff, or you whatever. I don't have like last week. I don't. The more I listen to these conversations, the less I have a viewpoint on things. The less I do, and then the more I come up with the catch line for my clothes, where I say I only believe in one race, and it's the race against time. I'm not even with the human race no more. I'm with it. I'm with it as I'm for it. You know what I'm saying? And then it just makes me the pictorial that I see is just a circle, and I see this in everything. Personally, this circle, things emanating from a circle, whether it's full or if it's empty, I'm not gonna go there. And I just think everybody seeing is on the same line, like literally online for semantics, like literally online, but it's just one big circle, and we just gonna end up to ourselves. Just whatever's going on, whether you want to go cyborgs, whatever. So whatever is happening is supposed to happening, and however everyone sees it, like why is the praying mantis here? Why is the zebra here? I'm not going. If I want a question, I'll go online, but I don't really got the brain space right now to try to figure things out. I'm just like, oh, that's a viewpoint. That's a viewpoint. That's a viewpoint. That's a zebra. That's a monstera. Whatever. And I'm like cool with it. I'm working on not it affecting my electricity. You know what I'm saying? To touch on that. So I just think it just going in circles, cosmic clocks. What I don't want, you know. I'll bring up the topic because it's heavy, and I wonder. But the offer that I got is this. This is what I got. I be on my homies. I be like, I respect everybody's online ego and curation of how they post their online stuff. I respect it. But it's hella easy just to share somebody. Yeah, share Rihanna's new makeup. But what about your homie that's making cereal snacks in his basement? You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing for me to repost some stuff, you know? All right, so it evolves. I got this space that I have that came on the basis. It's a Discord. I got a space that I've been growing. The basis was my factory and school, which is a family. Ask anyone who's been a part of it. It's a family. How are you doing? Is your stomach full? Did you drink water? Then we can get to sewing some making some dope art. That's Holy Stitch. But I've been building this Discord. I go back to this Discord. I'm working diligently on building my community as we are. So, and I can see this. I know very coherently that I'm leading young men that remind me of myself. To keep it simple, I know that. I am a father. I am myself, and whatever someone sees me as, I know I am aware of the path that I'm paving for that. They come for the clothes, but because it's me, I be putting them with heat rocks like books, y'all stuff. I'm good at finding some stuff. So I got these PDFs and stuff that I'm not going to say out loud that is hard to find, XYZ, right? I ain't put him up and I ain't even said it. I had to talk to my boys, like, how do I come up? How do I say it? Am I watching him get whipped so I'm scared to go louder? Or am I, how we do this? How we do this, bruh? You know what I'm saying? Like how I do this. So I got this space where I can say what I want, do what I want. I don't worry about nothing moderating me. I set the bots up. I set the bots up in the Discord. And so I'm offering it to the people, whoever are digitally and want to press some buttons. I'm building it up right now. In the coming weeks, there'll be some information that I'll share for free, and some I can't share for free because of all kinds of reasons. And then y'all can get it. You know what I'm saying? That's my offer.
All right, Julie, you could advertise for your.
Oh no! That's not an advertisement. Oh no, not at all.
That's kind of what it sounds like. But you could do that.
Oh my bad. Oh my bad.
You was going off on a.
My bad. Nah, because I got all this information and I don't want to get bans and stuff like that, and I want to give it to the people, and I'm trying to figure out how to. That's the basics. That's what it is.
You know, tap in on the comments right now. Let's talk about, let's keep a steady flow in this conversation. Okay. So about anti-Semitism thing, like if you look at who are the Jews, right? Let's keep it a buck. They're Europeans. If they took an accurate test of their blood, they're Europeans. Where do they come from? They can't tell you. Most of them can't tell you. But if you were to do an accurate historical search on who, the Israelites are, or who they say who the real Jews are, then you would say it's melanated people. Who are the first H-U-E, humans? Melanated people. So therefore, the real Jews can only be melanated people. It's been the religion, or whatever you want to call it, has been hijacked. Right. As all of our history has. Our history is remixed, is hidden, it's used against us. Like if you look at the swastika symbol, you look at a lot of symbols, they are symbols that will awaken us if we accepted them. But they know this, so they use the symbols against us, and our subconscious accepts those symbols as evil. Therefore, we can't use those symbols as awakening because we have accepted them and been taught as a program that they're evil. So it's like you would never actually research the real meaning of a swastika because it would be like what? Anti-Semitic, right? Because you don't know the real history of where it comes from.
Right. That's like Christianity and religion, or spirituality and religion.
Exactly.
Dynamic and right. And it's like, no, that's a watered down version you have been given. And this is one of the major things that grinds my gear, because I see our people, our melanated people, like enslaved, and they will kill you in the name of their oppressor's God. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, right. Do you know what you're doing to your psyche? Do you know what you're doing to the God within you by, putting all your energy in something that is distorting you from who you are? It's wild.
Yeah, I had this thought, and I apologize for that. I got whatever the word humble down and recognize that, but it wasn't for that. I got 2 books that from the Nation of Islam that breaks down exactly some things. You know what I'm saying? I'll put it up on whatever, and whoever can get it, whatever. That's my offer. The books, I think people should read it. I was taught by Francis Cress Welsing when I went to college that the cadence of 4/4 rhythm came down to slavery, and it was sadness. It used to be 3/3, boom, tuka dum, tuka dum, tuka dum. And so, to go back, death ritual. And I really had this moment with myself because I enjoy this stuff. And I'm talking to my boy, and I'm like, I enjoy some of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to negate my parts. I also was listening to a random video with my kids, and the guy was like, people love their beer cold and hot dogs hot. And I thought about the pigs roasted and how it's hellish. Everything that's like that is rotten. Mm-hmm. It's rotten. And I'm like, what's the opposite of that? Heaven on earth, hell on earth. And it's really here. And so the death ritual, but also the acceptance, that is a part of it. And I think hip hop is the most evolutionary organism that there is in America, given that it's American born. And you can see it from the nodal points of where it's hot. You know what I'm saying? Why does New Orleans? Why is New Orleans? New Orleans. Why is it hot in the South? What's that special spot? Why is Chicago one of the hottest spots? What's the history of that? What nodal points is that? All these points I notice in hip hop speak a certain thing, and I really believe in the confusion that I respect, but I really believe in the self healing, in the self healing that hip hop will provide. I super know it. I am
Dang it.
and I believe that, and I
Yes.
believe that, and I without with any regard, I believe that, and we're watching it happen. We're watching it, and if you believe that this may be a pawn, well, what bigger game and what is being watched and surveyed all the time? So hip hop is that, and it's American born, or whatever the word American is. And I have, yeah.
You just said something I want to touch on. Deaf culture. I think hip hop is a big, you know, unbeknownst to them, or maybe it is intentionally. Actually, it is intentionally. If you know, you know. They are a big promoter and advocate for the deaf culture, right? Look, think about
This, right?
all the phrases that come from hip hop. Fresh to death. You're fresh to death. You're ready to die, aka I'm dead. I'm dead. Um, what's up? I mean, I'm ill. Like, if you think about all these phrases, you like, oh shit, I'm dead, I'm weak, I'm ill. Like, those are affirmations. And if you keep repeating those affirmations in songs over and over and over again, you're like, holy shit, I'm affirming my own demise. So in hip hop, what is it? Oh, I just loaded up 20 AK-47s and I'm on my way to shoot my homeboy because he's
Chill,
girl,
chill,
yada
chill.
yada. It's like it's always, and we in the car like, yeah, shoot him, we making the noises, and it's like, oh shit, we're like buying, and it's like Lil Wayne #1 on the charts, and let's go over his last album. In his last album alone, there was like 20 murders in one album. So it's like,
Well, let
damn,
them pharmaceuticals. You have pharmaceuticals, all the luxury items, the things that like who bought out Supreme that provided the bombs in Yemen. You have all these things that are intertwined with literal advertisements. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That are propagating to that whole ideal. Um,
like the whole perk, the whole Molly perk, whatever that song was with Future. It's like, damn, that's like, when did they start putting pharmaceutical commercials in music? You
As
know,
soon as they started to say that's dope.
yeah, they're like, if you think about it, like Future is an ambassador for Percocet. They gotta be paying him. And lean with Lil Wayne was a big thing. You know how many people in my high school was on lean because Lil Wayne was on lean. That was
no,
What
the
is
oh
lean?
yeah,
What is that? Is that what he drank in his cup all the time?
like purple syrup, like cough syrup.
no, I mean,
Remember
Are
that?
you serious?
Yeah,
Huh?
cough syrup. It's a okay, from the plant farm. It comes from the opium poppy plant. It's an opium derivative. It's an opiate, and it's
Okay.
synthesized into codeine. Codeine is a side by side to morphine.
Yeah.
By down and then that. So it's a sippable heroin. A question though.
Yeah.
You know how like we be like, yo, movies, they sell this vision, right? I was telling my kids, I'm like, yo, all right, I'm trying to accept y'all movie world. When does bad win? I'm like, when does bad win in the movies? They're like, nah. I'm like, even in their weapons, they saying that good wins over evil, right? They even said that. Like they can't really deny in most of the things that good wins over evil. And to the hip hop thing, or anything in general, I really embody and not trying aware of the thoughts of death and all this stuff of acceptance, but to keep talking about instead of being the solution. When I hear certain titles of race, I was listening to the conversation, not her specifically, but when I hear they're hurting this specific linear boxes, it was starting to hurt, like almost hurt me, like not hurt like that, but like I don't even like that anymore. I don't even like that. Because I really believe that I am doing what I have to do for the truth. You are. And that's what is the only thing that I can even, I will, if I'm talking, you know, respect, take off, but make sure that the water upon the dead plant or something at the same time when talking about, because it's like, bro, they putting up, it's a ritual. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I really know the truth is going to come out. But to talk about problems, I really, as comments go, it almost not makes me sad or something, but something like it's a spark in, it's a chemical spark in the brain to release a comment. But if you train yourself to stop that and stop the comments and held that into an action, I just know it's more powerful. And that's the tricknology, you know? We're so relished in the problems.
Someone
Yes.
said they put lean on their blunt.
Yeah.
What
Oh
was
yeah.
I pinned this comment. Those songs were so catchy. That's exactly right, because they know how to change the frequency on these on music, right? To
Mhm.
hit certain chakras. Because you, let's think about it, guys. Your body is nothing but like not one, but it's coded. Your DNA is coded.
Yeah.
You can literally switch somebody, like, oh, I can't, I want to say it so bad. So you can insert soup in somebody's body, right?
Yeah.
And change their code, and they're no longer the same person. So with this music, it's not changing your code per se, but it knows how to change certain
Influence.
frequencies, the frequency that you're vibrating at. It knows how to,
Yes.
just like binaural beats, when you listen to binaural beats, it can change your brain frequency.
Hmm.
These songs, when you listen to them, especially with big speakers, exactly, the 808s, they hit certain chakras, and they can really open you up. And when you open up for possession. So that's why
That
somebody
part.
listen to a song and it'd be like, yeah, this man is put in prison and he killed 4 people because he said wrong. And a lot of us, we don't even know that we are under MK Ultra, right? Like MK Ultra mind programming right now, right? And so how MK Ultra works, especially on a grand scale, is that you can program somebody's mind, right? To where, if somebody said theta, if you get somebody in a theta stage, right? Especially right when they rise up and before they go to sleep, you get them in a trance mode. And I got this whole theory about coming into this. I'm trying not to go there. Anyway, you can get them in it. Well, I got this whole theory about coming into life and being in a theta, like this whole experience. You're being hypnotized. But anyway, to the side. So you can get them in a theta stage, right? And if you know how to, damn, what was I just talking about? If you know how to get them in a theta stage, that music can speak to them and it can influence them to do things, right? So the music can literally program people. And that's what's been happening. Just like TV shows programming. Where if you think about experience, and I'm gonna take it to the left for 1 second. If you think about this whole experience, how much different are we from computers?
We're
Because
not. We're absolutely not.
a computer operates off of programming, and we always say that our thoughts create our reality. Well, you get a computer and it can maneuver and do things based off the programming that was installed. So our thoughts really come from our programming. Like if you think about it, we have a lot of us are walking around with unhealed childhood trauma, but the childhood trauma was the programming. So a lot of what we think, that's why certain people, it would literally take a mindset shift for them to become a different person because they have a program, right? So with music, if let's say you have a young child and you're listening to Lil Lil Hot Sauce 29, whatever. He's talking about murdering somebody, whatever. You don't think, your friend might say, like, should your baby be listening to this? And you're like, girl, he's 2. He don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, his subconscious does though. And so that's why when he's 6 years old, he's, trying to hit the blunt with you and your friends. That programming speaks to them. That's why when you play a baby high frequency music, then they come out in a different way. I'm sure if you were to do a long study on this, you would have empirical evidence of this being true.
What's
Play
the
just
difference between speaking that water and those particles and shapes or binary codes speaking the water than a speaker speak? You know what I'm saying? Ain't no difference. It's them darts
yes,
hitting you at the same time, right? To your water being. You know,
yeah,
and then when music, when it started, let's just pretend it's for story time. Like it started on the animal across the drum, right, and some sticks, literally, like right, and so that was natural. And then you had diamonds on rubber, that was still natural.
mhm,
Latex, rubber, that's natural.
mhm,
And then started getting to something. I saw something online, unverified by myself, that carbon, rubber, diamond, they stopped it because you know what I'm saying, music was healing. They
mhm.
found out in tests that music was healing because fools were sitting back, getting healed, listening to carbon with diamonds, and fools doing vibing out. You know what I'm saying? Like on the records. And then that's where they went to other formats, Laserdisc, CD, and other that, where you're able to tweak the wave, whatever, the 328.
Yes. Somebody just said, speaking about water, hidden language of water. Yo, to veg you back off of what Julian's saying, right? I know you guys have probably seen this. This was I don't want to say like it was viral on the web or it was an internet sensation or anything like that. But there was this experiment the scientist did. He took two separate jars of water, two mason jars. Stop me if you heard this. He put water in them, and one jar he said like, "I love you. You're beautiful. Your feet are so pretty." He didn't say that, but probably something. He's like, I hate you. You don't know how to cook. I never liked you in that dress, you know? So he put these two jars to the side, right? So one jar, nothing but hate. One jar, nothing but love. And he froze them. In the jar with hate, it was all fragmented, just ugly crystals. The other jar, beautiful geometric crystal shapes. So that goes to show that vibrations change water, how water behaves. And the scary thing is that is water alive, right? Because of water reacts to vibrations just like humans react to vibration. Is water alive?
Still
Because
water.
water acts
Yes.
Yeah.
activation, right? So we humans are 70% water, making this full circle. We're 70% water. So when we receive vibrations from music, it's literally changing us because whatever those vibrations are talking about, whatever frequency hertz, because how does energy move? Through hertz and frequencies on land. How does energy move through water? Through waves, right? So energy moves in certain ways that we can see it. Through water, it's waves and patterns. So the, when it's hitting our body, like we have cymatic, how you can form beautiful geometric shapes with sound. I've showed you that in plenty of lectures. So on the inside of you, you have those same shapes and frequencies. I mean, the same shapes that are coming from the vibrations, therefore changing your overall frequency. So
That
Hmm.
you
motion, like emotion, ocean, emotion, electrical motion, like,
Mhm.
and you get charged up or you get let down, uh, like, isn't that to me to the same thing? And I think I wonder for y'all, can y'all? I've been trying to practice this recently, where I can feel the chemicals and read the heaviness or lack of heaviness in my brain, and I wonder because I feel like I can feel my emotion and I can feel it rise, or let's just say how buoyant I am. Am I with the higher plane or lower plane? I can feel that with my emotion. But I wonder, and do y'all ever play with that where you know that something is not a good thought? You know that it's not a good thought and it's thinking and it's about to run you. It's about to run you. I think, does that, right? Like does that happen to you, or it's
Most
not,
de-
it's not running you yet. It's not running you,
yeah.
but you have it, and then you have the moment or something. Some people don't have the control of their body yet or whatever, or connectedness. And but do y'all actually, or theorize, or whatever the word may be, can feel it when it's like, okay, this ain't from that land, that ain't from the I want to
Hmm.
be, I gotta up flowers up, you know what I'm saying, like
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Meditation helps me to notice quickly, or help to get me out of that state of going in down the wheel. So now it's automatic. Like I can literally be a viewer and analyze and see my thoughts and talk to them and be like, why are you here, without judgment? Because once you judge it, you attach negativity to it. So I'm like, why are you here? What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to teach me? So I'm quick to it, and I pay attention. It's funny that you would say that, to the sensations in my brain and different parts of my brain when I'm feeling a certain way. So how things in my physical environments make me feel, I tune into my body and my brain to see where I'm holding that energetic charge, and then I release it. So it's a practice. And I was going to talk, like I was jump on Astro earlier about how meditation helps us to get ourselves back into balance and realign our chakra systems, that these different energetic misalignments, these like weird beats and tonalities and hertz, throw us out of balance. With meditation, helps us to get back in balance and realign our energetic centers.
You notice how everything that, not everything, but majority of what we do, to veggie back off what you were saying, balance, energetic centers. Like a lot of this has to do with water. When you meet somebody, what do? You wave at them, just like water, And I said something in my video the other day, uh, because it wouldn't leave my brain. And that's how a lot of this shit works. I was thinking about flames. I was like, damn, like my flames right now, I love looking at flames. And I'm like, it sure does move like water, and like whenever you think about heat, you know, how you can access heat, it requires water. And if you get down to the granular inspection of it, it's going to require water.
Mm-hmm.
No other element, water doesn't depend on anything else. Like air can exist without fire, but fire can't exist without air. Water can exist without all of those, but can all of those exist without water? Earth needs water to grow.
Everything.
Fire be able to have, so we can have access to it, because the air, they teach us two hydrogen and one oxygen. But if they say most of us need oxygen to breathe, and they say billions of us here, then there's no way there's only one oxygen in that molecular breakdown of our reality.
We'll just flip it then, like a swastika. I mean, maybe that's the possibility, right? Like that's always the thing I say. Like if I'm opposite, think of the thing that's, what I'm saying. So swastika, boom. It probably O2H or whatever. You know what I'm saying, right?
I mean, you think about it, they say we need oxygen to live. We need hydrogen. Like we need water, of course, but when we're out, we don't, like when you sweat, right? What is that? That's your body interacting with that hydrogen and the air. Sometimes we can go outside, you're like, oh, it's humid today, or it's moist today. That's the amount of moisture in the air. It's not like somebody went outside and like threw up a pail of water. That moisture is everywhere at all times.
I was just, yeah.
That
So we're
reminds.
able to, oh, I'm sorry, Jillian.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we're able to tune into that moisture based on how we're vibrating, because it's always there. So if we're vibrating at a certain hertz, then we can tune into that vibration, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Water's just
Yeah.
like water's energy, and it never, like, this is the thing I try not to think about because it's kind of nasty, but like we're not getting no new water around here. So like when you go to the bathroom and when you spit and when whatever, all that other stuff, are you drinking somebody else's reused water?
But
Yeah.
even on the planet, Astro, like, where does the water, where would the water go? Isn't it all recycled water from the first people who were here? Like,
It's
wouldn't
a
it?
it's an ice wall that's keeping it all in. We're
Even
living and I mean, sorry for any, any young ones listening on the podcast. We're living in a huge pool, right? And a lot of these pools were created by floods. We are thriving in the remnants of a lot of floods, right? And it's to our scale, because what we see as a huge ocean to a giant is just a swimming pool, just how an ant sees a puddle as an ocean, right? So this, we might see that as our boundary, just how we can't get to Nemo, the furthest point Nemo, in the ocean. Water is it's our governor, right? We can't live without it. It keeps us, it's our boundary. We can't go to the ocean unless you have the tools, unless you have a boat, unless you have whatever. So it keeps you from going to the quote unquote edge of the earth. It can drown you, it can kill you. A pressure washer, you ever been hit with a pressure washer? I have, took my fucking skin off, right? So it can kill you, it can drown you, it can save you. Um, I mean, it's literally everything that you need in this world requires
Well,
water.
law.
And
Water is
so,
God. Like, sorry, Julian, go ahead.
Oh, no,
Didn't mean to cut
maritime
you.
law. It's maritime law. I mean, it's law, like friendship, everything, like all that type of stuff, the nuances to, again, the water. And the thing when you look at the star in the sky, I was at the aquarium the other day and I saw a light, you know what I'm saying? Like it, it is, I just, when you were saying that, I'm like, okay, water. How did the cup get filled then? What, there's a reason. I'm thinking like there's a reason that the water it exists. There's a reason. There's something. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason. So the opposite, it was must have. You see, you know what I'm saying? Like just to keep on going that, because there's a reason. And then when you just start, I'm not even gonna go there and ponder that. I'm gonna take that on my own time. But there's a reason, and what would that reason be? That water. And it's just so cyclical, because I'm thinking like here you see the pyramids, they look all ashy. Other pyramids, they look all grassy, right? All these different elements of what the pyramids. And then we were talking about the ice walls. I'm like, what happened if they built the super motherboard and we building off rockets and our motherboards is getting bigger, motherboards getting bigger. And they were like, yo, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. And since it's ice and ice is water, and we have these hard divisions of race, all these lines and barriers inside of us, it ain't never gonna melt or never gonna do nothing until we don't really have those projections within our of barriers. Because I really believe that that's what is going on. I don't see a difference between this, that, personal belief. I don't see a difference and try my best to see a difference. I know that when a volcano erupts, to me, I kind of go like, oh yeah, I was angry. But the ice wall, as a society, our walls are melting within. Whatever words people want to say, that there's no blurring lines anymore. Getting closer to the stories of being a god and goddess within, and be able to create in the same instance of speaking and grabbing dirt and saying whatever, and those stories that we hear.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, I mean, that's a really good point. And somebody said it's life and it gives life. That is water, yo. Like, it, think about this. If water didn't exist, would you be able to give birth?
We wouldn't exist. If
Right,
water didn't exist, we wouldn't exist.
Well,
right,
but what
right.
about air? Wouldn't we die with air first though? Without air first?
I mean, that you can definitely argue that point. But folks, I mean, think about the one, like babies come through water, your water breaks, right? Most of our simulation, most of our stage is water. 95% of our stage is untapped. And every day, when I don't want to say every day, it's being hyperbolic, but often we do have these new stories just coming out, like new creature found in water, new city found underneath the water.
Mm-hmm.
You can destroy an entire civilization with water. And I keep going back to Pakistan, but like, I really think that that's low radar right now. Like, I don't think people understand what happened with Pakistan. Like,
Yeah.
yo, it's bye bye. Like,
Yeah. It's crazy.
crazy.
And it
Just
was
like,
fast. It was like
yeah, Jinx, you owe me a whatever.
jinx, jinx.
So, like, I mean, think about history. How like 30 years from now, people be like, damn, there used to, do y'all remember, was there a place called Pakistan? Is Pakistan going to reemerge one day? Like, we heard that there was a hidden city of or a hidden country of Pakistan. And that's how these stories build up. And maybe that's how Atlantis, maybe that's how maybe that's how
Yeah.
Brazil, it went with these other places that are buried and then they're reemerged. Just how, like, when they kept, these volcanoes kept going off around Tonga. I still got like I still got my spidey sense going off around Tonga because I'm like, we had a major volcano go off. I think twice. I think one was a bomb and then one was a whatever.
Actual
Somebody
volcano.
history was revealed. Yeah, but it's like, and I think close to Tonga, there's some hidden history underneath the water. There's like some buried islands underneath there that I would need to dig into.
Was this
But
the volcano in the DR?
uh
No?
not no,
Okay,
it's
well,
like
what about that one? That one was really bizarre as well, and how it took out all of that land mass and no real explanation.
wow. I mean, and think about, I mean, volcanoes, that's a whole nother topic, whole nother discussion, because volcanoes and lightning, they're the same thing, really. Somebody said put me on. Hey, look, Aisha, I've been trying to put you on. Have you That's why I keep coming close to the screen. I keep hitting this, I keep trying to hit accept for, sorry for anybody that can't get on. But please, before I forget, go on Apple Podcasts, hit the link in my bio, and leave a 5-star rating and review for this podcast so this podcast can get out to more people. Yes, if you are tapping in right now on IG watching us, if you got on the stage, then your voice is going to be on the podcast. So, disclaimer, you didn't sign anything, but I'm letting you know now. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, soon to be on Spotify and Stitcher. So yes, I think a lot of these islands are re-emerging, right? Because we just saw it. We just saw it happen right in front of us, right? And so one more thing I want to say about water, because you can talk about it for hours, is are we drinking the same water that our ancestors drank? Because it can't go. If you spit on the ground, it evaporates. Water, if you spill water, it evaporates, goes back, and then it comes back like a full circle. If we live in a dome, then everything's coming back in a full circle. So water is energy. It can't be destroyed. But what particles? I mean, because they tell us two hydrogen, one oxygen. I'm gonna go ahead and call cap, right? So what particles, what is the real molecular structure of water and how can it move in the way that it can encode information and
Mm,
keep that information? Like, it can go from, you can have a glass of water, you can say I love you, put it in the freezer, it then can become solid,
mhm,
retain that same information, therefore forming perfect crystals.
mhm,
And then you can put that jar of water, you can pour it on the ground, and then boom, it becomes vapor.
Isn't that what happening to us sometimes though? Like
Wait,
it,
let me finish this thought. Hold on. It's still, if it becomes vapor, it still holds that same information, or does it? This is I'm making a hypothesis right now because I don't know. But if it holds that same information, right, it goes up into the clouds
mhm,
and then rains. And then
mhm,
that rains comes down and hits somebody else's skin.
mhm,
Now, when that rain hits your skin, are you picking up somebody else's information, or are
mhm,
you picking up somebody else's thoughts, that the same thoughts that made those perfect crystals that went up into the clouds that are now rain? So that's why when sometimes people say, like, all of your thoughts are not your thoughts. If you're getting hit by these rains, are you getting hit by other thoughts as well?
Like when you take a shower, you get hella thoughts
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
like that. Like boom, like
Yo.
oh, oh.
Right.
But then, because when I was a kid, I remember people laughed. I was like, yo, I breathe the same air as the dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, because, right? Like that's how I breathe the same. And the world is a burial grounds, you know? It's either like it is what it is, but the apple is all the symbiosis of everything, my ancestors, all the blah, 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 blah. So you got to have the acceptance and less of fear of that to when, but for sure, that if water is so you're saying, to keep it simple, if the equation is water is life, and then it's full circle, like it's a full circle, right? Like whatever, it literally, we're getting it back in multiple forms and giving it out in this form. So we're sharing like a cup of water. Like I'm another cup of water. I'm another vessel. I'm another vessel. I'm another vessel. And by talking and acting, just say talking, just keep it talking. I'm literally going like this, or different things to the vessel that's going on knowingly and unknowingly. And I will act back to the music that's going on. And in my nervous system, like if I threw a toaster in the oven, it's going to make me act in a certain way, either overload me or just make me, because I see it in my homies. Why does everyone have to be kind of pseudo hard
Mhm.
without even trying to be? Even myself, like I know I propagate some ideals out of them, you know, but it's that electricity in my water that I'm resisting as best as I can, because it is, I can't condense the idea, but I see the equation of,
Right.
And that makes sense. Going back, oh, I'm sorry. Were you finished building? I'm sorry.
oh, that
There's
was it.
there's like a lag. Oh, okay. It hit me. So going back to the clouds and the vapor and like the mist, that's water. So is that them sending information for us to get into our being to change us in some way or fashion, because they have obviously tested this to see that it is palpable. So this is so intense, because if we're getting hit from there, we're getting hit from ancestral stuff, we're getting hit from our own stuff, we're getting hit from other realm stuff, because who knows where we come from. That's a lot to decipher and make sense of.
Guess who? I mean, to even to show you that this rings true, guess who's now getting in the water business?
Who?
Bill
Bill,
Gates.
obviously. I should have guessed that.
It's water life, right? So going back to that whole idea, right? If this is why it's important not only to watch what you eat, but to watch what you or to watch what you drink. Because if you drink piss poor water, you're gonna have piss poor thoughts. If you get something like a Kagan machine and you have electric thoughts because your water is now alkaline. And so water is also a what? It's a superconductor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So your body, as we said the other day, your body is comparable to a battery, right? Because your cells need electricity. And depending on the amount of electricity that your cells are receiving, it shows your energy levels. You have low energy, you have low electricity to your cells. You have high energy. That's why it's good to eat electric food, because it gives your cells that charge, right? That's why when you eat something good, you're like, oh, I got a bunch of energy. Or you get some maca or some ginseng, that's rooted in those electric vibrations from the earth. Uh, so you get those foods that are tapped into the earth. It hits you, boom, it hits your cells, electricity, and then you drink water. 70% water. Your water then holds the charges, holds the electricity because it's a superconductor. So if you're eating good, your cells are good. If you're drinking good, depending on where the water is coming from, that's why you have all of these racing thoughts, because we're drinking water, 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 but it's not coming, it hasn't been purified
Or
correctly.
not even drinking water, water, water. Okay, so I'm currently on a water fast. This is my fourth day on it. Shout out to Akibalon 44. It's amazing. And I feel amazing because of what Astra just said. I decided to before I started this, and in the beginning phases, ingest holistic clean herbs. So I made teas that were clean and energizing for my body. And literally, you guys, I could go outside and run like 10K right now, no problem. I feel amazing. My thoughts are slowed down. My brain fog has dissipated. Like, it's incredible. But to touch on what you're talking about, we don't drink enough water. We drink soft drinks, pop, alcohol. Alcohol is like a double unit, because what it's doing is it's distorting you, and it's causing misalignment and dis-ease in the body and disease, but it's also opening you up. If you drink too much and you get to a state of unconsciousness, you get to a place where you're inviting in entities that take control of you and take, reins of your water vessel. So we have to be very mindful, very, very mindful.
Like, yeah, you said water vessel. So literally,
Thank you for the cars, by the way.
yeah, after I do that, so yeah, spirits, da da da, you know what I'm saying? And then you dehydrated. I know, anybody know, whoever has known that you can't. I noticed that most people pray to God when they hug in the toilet, but not during the day. You know what I mean? Right? Because you probably got no water in you. Something like that. You feel me? You're on your way to. And that's what happens to alcohol, spirits. It dehydrates you. And I know that when you off, you get more more irritable. You ain't gonna make your art, whatever it is. You're not gonna be on point, right? You're not gonna flow. Like, you'll be still water. And so I can see that's something that's rotting stuff, alcohol, something that's rotting, meat, the hot dog, back to the beer and the hot dog thing, because he's talking about America. Boom, that all depletes. And then I think, so if the cup is like this, it's frequency. If I hit the cup, if like that girl who going viral hit the cups of glass, and each one goes ding, 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 it got different cups of glass in it, right? So each one hit a different note, right? Each one hit a different note. Same thing with the human. The vessel, boom. And I guarantee if that water was cloudy, same amounts of water, but cloudy, therefore the density, buoyancy, all that stuff, it would hit the note way different, right? It would just hit the note, not the same. So I guess that'd be the same as we're pouring into other vessels, being aware of what's coming into due to the circumstance. But then we have the opportune moment to figure out what charges this up, whether it's taking a walk outside, getting better water choices, or whatever. That's kind of like the motor that goes like this, to be able to charge this, if it's here or here or here, to charge that up, to get it to the point to want to get up out your bed, to want to even think about getting out your bed. You know what I'm saying? To even be able to attract on your phone the electromagnetic signals that would advertise something that you would even want, versus being parasites onto you. You know what I'm saying? Like, even to that level, to whatever the case may be, because it is all of that electricity coming to water now. Now I'm like, yo, what? That's a lot. It's a lot. We are, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, water is, sometimes I go down to the space between the Detroit River, space between Canada and over here in the D, we call Canada South Detroit. And I just stare at I was moving. I'm not too far from you, by the way, there in Toronto. But I just stare at the water, how it's moving, and I'm like, the bonds. It's like, it's not. Yeah, you might have water droplets that come off, but it's like the way that it moves, the consistency, and the way that it's always moving. You're like, what are the origin of waves? Like, that takes you back to the polar vortex. Like, have you ever seen, like, in your entire years of living, your young years, both of you, have you ever seen still water? Ever?
No,
Naturally.
the idea of still water, but I put my finger in it, or the wind was blowing, and
Right. So in the these big bodies of water, it's all like, it's waves. It's always waves, and I'm like, that's always like information processing, right? And then Like even staring at water, that's why you get all these thoughts when when you take a shower. Staring at water, like I still feel as though it's this. Yeah, we call it an element, but I for real think it's like this
Duh.
magic that we can't tap into, right? Because a lot of people say that, oh, the sky is blue because of the ocean.
No.
Okay, what color is water?
Clear.
What like when you pour a glass of water, water's clear.
Mm-hmm.
So it like that mystery comes in, right? I mean, of course, you got like different elements and stuff that can give you the hue of blue. I did a video about that, but if you go like I said this in a video the other day, but it's deep in my mind, right? Because the human can go in water, right? But for a certain amount of time, we have a boundary, just how a dolphin can come out of water for a certain amount of time, right? Now, the definition of space is a period of time.
Hmm.
So when you go into water, are you going into outer space, right? Because
Yo,
like fish perceive time differently than humans. Dogs perceive time differently than humans. That's why we have dog years. Now think about fish years, right? Now, water is also dense. Now, do you believe that there's a correlation here because we are the density of how we experience this element that we call water is what they teach us as two hydrogen, one oxygen in our air. The molecular structure for water in the oceans is denser, and so therefore it changes this element that we know as time. So
Mm.
that brings in the question,
yo,
does
like,
the density of water change the perception
Oh.
of time?
of course, dog. Of course. Come on. You see it in a clear glass with whatever two liquids. Yo, watch. I'm like, okay, boom. If I got no water with the opposite, boom, fire, right? No
Mm-hmm.
wonder the imagery of hell, because it's like the absolute abstinence of life. If water, I'm just going to equation, simple equation, water equal life. If no life, you know what I'm saying, and opposites, hell, the opposite. Boom. So now you say fish out of water, right? Let alone, let's say we all like got little pope hats, you feel me? And just swimming in life. So in this life, this terrestrial thing, I know that I know that I feel in my system that above is water, right? This, and I'm like in a fishbowl, okay? And that's why it twinkle twinkle the way it does. That's what I believe. So, and I came from water, right? I
Mm-hmm.
came from it, but now I'm breathing air. So, and this life is like me, like like I only got so long on this on the sandy part of the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on something, I my buoyancy, my literal buoyancy, will go up to the celestial planes if I'm afloat and in tune with the light and charged up and all this terminology.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, then I'm gonna go below where, you know what I'm saying, as the opposite of what I just said. And that is almost clear as anyone could see in any scripture, that you could just see you move a certain way, frequency, blah, blah, blah. And if water is life, you go to the next life or something of the sorts, or that thing where your dreams and whatever people believe in, that is that feeling of a higher,
Mm-hmm.
versus people's, you know, pitchforks, or, you know, like going to a barbecue, maybe it might be like hell, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? So that is interesting.
Right. And
I
the veggie
feel
back. Oh, go ahead.
That's a trip.
No, the veggie back off what you're saying. Think about this, right? The density of water, it changes our perception of time. Now,
Oh, I see
what
what's up.
frequency of water? What is the vibration of water? Because density equates, or density shows what something is vibrating at, right? So we see how water moves, we see how fluid it is. So if water is a superconductor, then what is the vibration? How is water vibrating to keep the form, the effortless balance that it has, right?
What
Now, somebody said, I posted this comment because or pinned this comment because somebody said water and fire are both lifeless without air. Sounds good on paper, but try to go on water and get air. You're going to run out of air. You need machines to have air and
You have
water.
to bring air in.
Right. But what is air? Air is water, right? You're breathing in 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. At least that's what they teach you. So air essentially is water. So water wouldn't be lifeless without air because water is the life of air. Water is the life of fire. Water is the life of everything. And somebody said that oxygen is the common denominator. Man, what is oxygen? They teach us about oxygen, but are we fully, is the trap here because our bodies are made major, like carbon plays a major role,
Mm-hmm.
right? Before the certain densities that we're existing in now, this physical density, were we always carbon or were we another element like, I don't know, silicone or something? Because carbon, in a way, keeps the light coding known as your soul trapped in this physical body. If you think about it, that's how your body is able to exist in this body and is able to exit um when it has no more what beating, when it has no more supply of what? Oxygen, when it has no more electricity to the cells. And that's when when you no longer have the machine keeping in the soul, then your soul can boom, it can leave the body. But somebody say I wear carbon. Carbon is in our dirt, it's in our body, it's everywhere. You think, okay, think about water. How is the water being retained in the body? Because when you take a shower, the water bounces off of your body, but how is water being inside of the body? Now you have to go
Without
back to
coming out.
what is the human made of? Oxygen, carbon, what are the other ones?
Yo, like
Right. So the other ones, it keeps hydrogen, like it. We are water, but it like this water is inside of us. So the water inside of us, you say we are made up of data, then the data is what? The blood is the data, the cells. Yes, all of that, but it's mainly water.
Listen, I was watching someone and they said that we used to be um, beings that lived in water. Water was our home, but we have forgotten, so we no longer remember how to swim in water. If we jump in right now and somebody drop you without any sort of gear down into the ocean, you will drown. You won't like it's really that's so powerful how that memory we have allowed to lose because as you were saying we have water inside of us but the water outside can't directly penetrate. It goes in like everything goes through the skin. The skin is the most sensitive and receptive organ in our body, but we don't have water like leaking out. So yeah, what is that? What prevents us from that? Yet
But
we're
um,
70 to 80% water.
but we sweat,
Right,
right? We
right.
sweat. So that's how that's how people detox, right? You sweat, you get out the toxins out of your body. So in a way, yeah, you can sweat out, I guess you can say like bad water. Oh, that's a good name for a
But it's not
company.
pouring out, right? It's not pouring out of us. So there's a blocker.
Gee.
That's facts, facts, facts.
Guys, tears, uh, urination, tears, sweat. But
well, she
when you're
said pouring out, it's coming out of your pores. I thought that was what the laughter was for.
pouring out. Oh shit, that's punny.
Yeah,
The
uh,
water pouring out, coming out of your pores.
it's the same thing. If the Earth is a macro, and then we sweating and get condensation, it feels like it's humid. That's the same thing, or equivalent to like the fog coming over, the mist, or the humidity, and da 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 da. Right?
Some people speaking. Yeah, that's a fact.
But
I
then
mean, vent, that's another way for water to come out.
water, so it make me think. It make me think about it differently because it's all water now. Forget the sky, da 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 da. I'm
Yeah.
like starting to look at this fish and this bird a little differently right now because y'all both got wings, y'all both got scales. Forget the dinosaurs is terrestrial because I feel I belong. I feel my home is over there. You know, serious. Boom, file.
Mm.
So, and I know I be in my flow, like whatever. So if that's the case, no wonder I feel like and da da da. So bird, if as above, so below. That bird and that fish, and I don't think, as I was conversating in my head, I don't think they look down on each other and say something, no judgment, because there's something going on. They know where to go when it's time to go. They know what to do. They know what to do without. They know what to do. They know what. We all know what to do too, but there's a blocker. I'm not gonna say what, who, the blocker. It's an opportunity. Limitations are opportunities. Bird and fish. They both in water now. They both in water, and they both da 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 da. And you got different kinds of birds. Yeah, fishes. Some fish hop out, whatever. But we are here in between, as if it was like at the black hole and at that median between light and dark. And then we just keep on talking about the news, keep on talking about what's happening as it's swirling around us. And we're in that one part where we make that decision every day before we die, we go down to go with the light side and pop our head out, maybe, or to go into that lower side and be like, dang, I got to carry that the next day. I done did that to somebody and ain't, you know what I'm saying? And it's just that music of life. The record is spinning because if it's water and it's the whirlpool, it's a whirlpool going up too, bruh. It's going up and down, and we right in the middle of it. We right like
As above, so below.
yup. It literally like this, and we right here, like yup, yup. And that's the
So
center.
this could be the
I'll just end it with
sorry.
that just makes the point of the nodal points. That just makes sense of the
Oh.
that just make hella sense. You know?
Exactly, like a toroidal field, like a torus field. You know, like this comment is crazy though. Jito's reality says one
Facts.
thing that does not die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, think
It,
about it though. Water's energy
nothing, energy
not
doesn't die.
gonna die. Our bodies, our bodies transition back into the earth that it's made from. It goes back into the clay that it's made from. You know, it's like, you know, you have a nice clay figure and then you ball it up and you put it back into the rest of the clay. But our soul leaves the vehicle. It hits the eject button and it leaves. So water doesn't die, our soul doesn't die. It comes back into the body that is made up of water. Now, another thing I want to talk about too is rays are serious to a lot of people.
Astro, can you repeat that? I think you chipped out.
Yeah, retrogrades, like when we have these planetary energies that are in retrogrades, and we're teetering on 2 hours here. So
Wow, already? Oh.
yo, we be talking, yo. Good, right? How we were talking about music, having a change frequency. Think about planetary energies. What are they? I don't know. A lot of people would say. So now we have these huge balls of planetary energies, you can say, up in the firmament. And the way that um the firmament spins, it's like a vinyl record, right? With Polaris being in the center, and you just have the record spinning. Now, let's say you were to move, you have a huge magnetic field. If you were to move a certain frequency in the magnetic field, it would change the whole thing. Just like how if you were to take off a certain key off of a piano. I don't like those pianos because an elephant had to die. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, just how you take off a certain key off a piano, it's not going to play the same, right? So if you were to take a certain planet and move it, you're now rearranging the frequencies, the overall frequencies, and therefore people are not going to experience the same type of vibrations, because one major factor of our reality was switched, and we call it retrograde. So whenever this happens for a certain period of time, and it all goes off on timers like comets and meteors. So when we have a certain planet that goes in retrograde, what it really is a rearranging of a certain overall frequency. Like Julie was saying, it's just changing up the macro, but we feel it, the effects on the macro. So the causes that change on the macro, but the effects are how we experience the micro. So that's why certain people during a Mars retrograde can find such a hard time with conversing, can have such a hard time with managing their temper or just keeping a peaceful vibration, because there's this planetary energy that deals with our temperaments, that deals with um, like certain parts of the brain, right? So you can have, let's say, a Mars that deals with a certain part of your brain, but when you change the frequency, you change how your brain is interacting with that overall factor. So now you have less of a control of your temper, because the thing that's above us, the firmament, has now changed. Until it goes back into direct, as we like to call it, your frequency is going to be off. So you're going to feel like an out of tune piano, you're going to feel like an out-of-tune guitar, right? Because somebody is literally pulling the strings, the invisible strings, right? You don't, just like in the Sims games, like the green emerald that's above them, somebody's twerking that or tweaking that thing above you that you don't see, your chakras that are goes outside of your body, your physical shell. So when you have these planets that are going to retrograde, they are tweaking those chakras just the same way music does. It's changing the coding of the water that's holding the electricity of your cells. Like your entire system gets changed with Jupiter, with Mercury, when all these planetary energies go into retrograde. So that's why during this time, it's even more important now than ever to watch the water you're drinking, because that water is going to hold in um, the codes that you're receiving.
Yeah.
Yes.
It made me think, like when you say like that. So if universe is home, if the universe is home, right? The basic way would be like when I move a plant around or I move my bed, when that my bed was always there, Mercury, whatever planets, because I think it supersedes, and I think sometimes a lot of propagation goes to make people fearful of Mercury retrograde rather than the opportunity to recognize your temper and to recognize it and to be like, ooh, retrograde is here. Dope. I'm about to buckle up and not talk to no one. Dope. I get to focus. That's another way instead of being fearful of it. But it reminded me of this. If I were to move a plant or if I were to move my bed out of all of a sudden, it would change my mood. It would change all kinds of habits and stuff like that. Boom. If I moved now a person in my house and they were always in my house, terminology, they're always in my house, and then they moved out of my house, even up the block, all the way to across the whatever, the whole family is changed for better or worse or whatever. But the whole family dynamic in the house is different. Dinner, different. Everything, different. Gotta adjust. Now, how do they adjust? Now, I think it's upon the teachings to be like, about to leave. So therefore, since they don't, and the son is gonna leave, the daughter will leave, and this will go on, and you will do the same. And every time these leave, we will feel like, but out of that, we will arise as this every single time. So let's celebrate at the same time, you know, like feel the sadness of the person leaving the house. But at the same time, know it's gonna happen, and then dinner gonna be different. Man, but I get the bathroom. Oh, ba ba ba. You know what I'm saying? It's just that. Because I just hear a lot, not negating at all what happens. Communication's down, literal telepath, like the internet is slower. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Zoom was down today. So that boom. I'm electric, they're electric, right? Electric, water. So just saying for those that are still, when something is in your house in astrology and all these planets are inside of your house, it's the same thing as when you're moving something in your house. And it is simple as changing something in your regular being every day just to gain a different perspective in your everyday situation. And everyone has a control of their own perspective and circumstance to do that. And the planets are doing their job for us. You can read about them, but they're going to do what they're going to do. Just make sure that we're arranging and respecting the changing of house and change accordingly. Like sleep on the other side. Like if you sleep on that side of the bed, sleep on that side of the bed tonight and see what you dream about. You know what I mean? Like that. You feel me? Like,
Wow. Thank you for that. That was beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
word. Thank you. Well, that came from us. So, you know.
I heard sleeping with your feet to the door is super good for your energy. And one thing I want to say about water too, because man, I just keep going back to it. It's like we eat plants, right? Plants require water to grow. So the water that's going into the plants, it has information inside of it. So the same way how you receive information when you eat meat, I believe that you can receive information through plants as well. And maybe that's how, you know how sometimes like a baby would just know certain things. And you're like, how do you know that? And then you look at what you're feeding them. It's like, wait a minute, because that, that grows into a plant that turns into like spinach or it turns into, no, that's hybrid, turns to kale, whatever, right? And you eat the kale. When you
Mushroom.
eat kale,
How about a mushroom that tells you something?
you said what?
How about a mushroom that also grows like a vegetable that tells you something and gives you codes, right?
Exactly. Now, when you take in the water from, or the seed that's taken in the water to grow, is taking in all of this DNA from, if you think about it, let's be real, from the beginning of several simulations. Like, so
Mm.
what could be millions or however many times it's been reset, that water stayed, that information is here. So that's how a lot of us, we just know certain things because we getting this information from the foods that we're eating, especially if we're eating the food that take in a lot of water, right?
Okay, how
And
about this though, Astro? Let me challenge you with this.
yeah,
When you go into like those monks, they go into long standing meditation. They get so much downloads. I can attest, I've experienced this. You get so much downloads and you're in tune. Your antennas are so much more connected, but you're not eating. Like when you're doing a intense fast and you're just connecting with spirit, what is that then? Like how are they getting the information if not, they're not eating anything?
it's equivalent to the power of prayer in a way. If you ever get, let's say, you can get 5 people, you can get 10 people, hell, even one person. But if you get like a lot of people in a room and you get those people to focus on the same thing, just like a movie, you
Mm-hmm.
get some to watch a movie. And if the movie is talking about bringing in whatever into fruition, and you get millions of people to watch the movie, then chances are whatever your intentions were to bring it to fruition is going to come like a self-fulfilling prophecy because those people, unbeknownst to them, are manifesting whatever they saw in the movie. So monks, if you get like 10 or 20 monks in a room, they are literally changing the vibrations of their environment because when the thought leaves your brain, that's a vibration. So they are living in this type of like paradise frequencies that they can all tap into because they, like I said before, the water is all around us. So you can change water with your thoughts, like we said before. So you're changing the vibration, just how you talk to the jar and it makes the perfect crystal. You're talking to the environment around you. You're changing the molecular structure that is water all around you. So therefore, you're able to just like feel better and be almost superhuman because you have people all around you focused on the betterment of their soul, the evolution of their soul. But if you have people, let's say in the quote unquote hood, focused on shooting, uh,
Crap food.
liquor, like all of this stuff, then are you think they're going to be able to like levitate like monks?
Yeah.
Nah, even though we're gods and we have the ability. That's why when you see, a young brother do like 20 backflips and then do like 20 psycho bicycle kicks in, are you like, bro, you are a god. If somebody taught you how to use, like really use,
Right.
flying like Superman.
Right.
That's how the monks are able to tap into this power.
And I would say, I think that I know that when I don't, the less people I talk to, the better my ideas are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think because with the circumstance that I have, that the monk, I think they got their head full. They got their head full, too full. That's you know what I'm saying? Like boom. So I think that the equivalent that they going into their body so much that they downloads. I just imagine a desert. They want to go desert. They want to go all the way desert because they head has already got so much up here that they don't want to eat nothing because they don't even want the plant to die to think of death or whatever or this preconceived thing. I think that they want to go back to the bottom of the Euphrates almost with they're already being full. They're already being full in the Euphrates and they want to go to the bottom of it and reach that point of bottomness. And then because they are already full, I think then it comes in from themselves, nothing extraneous with which would be ingesting anything extraneous, even though they're accepting of it. But I would think to myself, I know experientially, the more I am with myself, the better I am off. Not saying I push people away, but the more I'm with myself, regardless if I'm in a room or not,
Mm-hmm.
the more I'm with myself and with it or that frequency that hurts,
Yeah.
like receive that myself, not Disney cartoons I'm gonna draw. You know what I mean? Something I never seen. Something I never seen. And I think and then they come off the mountain and say, shit, I forgot paper. Yo, but I put it on the rock. Look, bruh. Like, look, this it. And I think that's genius comes from genie. You know what I'm saying? In certain societies, I heard that they used to let people go off in their genius and they would be literally insane, but inspired was the word because they would be in spirit. And then their genius would come out and they would do things like build a plane or something because they would just go so manic that they couldn't think about anything else. And they magically will always find the tools and the stuff that they need, always, like all of us do in our life. When you're focused and you're super focused in your line, you start, little kids know a word, but didn't know a word yesterday, but now they know it's in their awareness. And then they would leave the society, come back and be like, look, and everybody will revere that. We kind of denounce that a little bit where you're like, yo, I'm the only one that sees this thing. Yo, that's all wrong. I can't even put it in English. Like, I gotta go. Bro, you about to throw your life away? You about to, you what? You about to quit? You about to stop going to, I bet. No support over here, bruh. Watch TV, everything you gonna read is not gonna support you. And those are the people we condemn, but also that we follow because they're the original ones. It's always that paradox, you know what I'm saying? And I think that go back to water, that both are doing it. Hate and love be the same thing, but in between the commentary, the gasping for air, the like reaching for clout. It's not a cloud, it's something with the T, so whatever, it's at a crossroads at that, right? D reaching up just for pictorials. So I think that that the monk thing, they just talking to themselves and that's what happens. And nobody be talking to themselves because everybody drinking other water, other, which is fine. We are in the system. So I accept it. But if I know, even because sometimes I'm so sensitive to saying like, it's as simple as grabbing that choice off the shelf. And I know like kids I teach, I can't tell them to do this one thing at their house with clothes because their dad might trip out because they dirtied the sink. You know what I'm saying? And it's just gonna go bad at home. So I can't say just make this choice sometimes. I'm very sensitive to say choose that. But I just think that if you know whether there's money in your pocket or not, and that choice that you make, whether if it's choosing the better water or not, or the thing off the shelf, like you drinking brown water, I think that's what prayer is for. I know that's what it is, because that's what talking to the water is. You can literally make that thing that may not be the best thing, but you have that thing that you can at least change it magically a little bit to make it a thing to get you to the next level, rather than being like, man, Astro said, Kerry said, yo, I got to. And then you just kind of like going like, nah, it's cool. You will get that machine. You know about the machine. You know what I'm saying? That's lit in your brain and to heart. And so just being mindful that, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. I mean, on a grand scale too, it depends. I mean, changing water with your thoughts has been proven. Uh, Tell that to Flint though,
Yeah.
because
Well, I
yeah,
think something
Flint,
about prayer. When they were saying about prayer, just to say, and then I look
right,
at rap
hold
like
on.
that rapper that died.
It's 6 o'clock, so like I'm trying to end here. I'm not trying to like go off on these long speeches right now. Um, but you know, you can change water with thoughts, yeah, but it depends on the scale because, like I said, Flint has been dirty for how many years? You feel me? And so on
So
another thing,
sad.
here's my closing thought. Uh, when you're around somebody and you say like, "Oh man, the vibes feel off," or like that. I don't know, but I'm not really feeling the vibes. One of the only reasons that you can feel the vibe is because of the water around you, right? It's because of that person's vibrations has literally went into the water around you, changed it, and then it reached you, right? Where we are, you can especially feel it when it's humid outside, when the water's more dense, right? But all around you, this is how, in my opinion, this is how telepathy works, right? If you know how to become one with them. When I'm by myself, I hardly speak. My neighbors probably think I'm a monk because I hardly I speak to myself, but through vibrations. I don't really say, like, I probably say less than 100 words a day sometimes, right? So you learn how to become one with self. Therefore, you learn how to, in a way, control the water, right? Because you're 70% water. So learning how to control your thoughts in a way is learning how to control water. So if we are surrounded by water, you learn how to become one with water inside of you. Do you learn how to create a better reality? You learn how to tap into telepathy because telepathy is learning how to utilize the water around you, although it's not dense, to send a message to make sure that your vibration that left your body is now a code that's leaving your body, tapping into somebody else's body, and they have to receive that code only if they know how to decipher that code in the water that it just hit, if they know how to decipher that thought, right? And a lot of people do it, but they don't know how they're doing it. So that's why you can be out one day and you're like, oh my God, I got all these scattered thoughts. What's happening is that your shield is weak and you're picking up on all of these thoughts around you. You don't know that you're picking up on these thoughts because the vibrations, they're moving through the water and they're getting to you, and then you're receiving them in the form of, oh my God, where are these thoughts coming from? So you might be next to somebody with horrible energy, and I don't want to say that. Let me rephrase that. You might be next to somebody that in the moment is vibrating in bad energy, right?
Or
And then
low, or low energy.
low vibration. And all of a sudden you're like, you start to get these bad thoughts and you're like, this isn't me. Where are these thoughts coming from? It's because those thoughts are now coming from that man. His vibrations are now tapping into you, moving through the water, and you're now receiving them in a form of thoughts. But if you don't know how to control your thoughts, you don't know how to control the water, you don't
Mm.
know how to control the codes, And what is language? Language is codes that moves through water. It, if you think about it, the only reason you know how to understand what I'm saying right now through this video is because your brain learned how to decipher the sound waves and decipher the code, because my sound waves are code that can only be broken down to other brains who learn the same sound waves and symbolism and coding. So that's why if you go to Mexico and you don't know how to speak Spanish, you're not coded for Spanish, right? And so in the future, I'll end it with this. In the future, I really think a way for super data transformation is going to be like people just drinking something and them to learn how to like fly a plane by just a drink, and that drink contains data or like a pill or something. Like they're going to create something to where you just download data through something that's mainly water.
Well, they just created a pill about psilocybin. They copied the mushroom and made a pill. So absolutely.
And,
Um,
uh,
yeah, that's powerful. That's you're 100. I believe like it's an interesting paradigm that we're in, and ultimately at the end of the day we are in control of this vessel. We have been convinced otherwise, and all the tools within us is so incredibly linked to source. And not talking about this encasement, outside of that we are the everything in the everything. We are a part of that. As above above, so below below as within so without, right? Like it's
yeah.
we are the oneness. We are all a part of the oneness. So I'm looking at Astra, I'm looking at Julian, I'm looking at myself, and they're also looking at themselves when they see me, and vice versa with everyone. So if we can remember that, and remember that when you're feeling low because your vibration, you're in a room, as Ashley was talking about, and you interacted with energies that are outside of who you are, remember who you are. Remember who you are. And tap into that energy source and bring yourself back into balance, back into flow with the oneness, so that you could eradicate anything that doesn't serve your highest good. That's my closing. So I'll let Julian share his last thoughts. Then I will close it out with the singing bowl.
I'm down to embrace all of it because I know that what's going down and the truth is the truth. And I ain't never seen a movie where evil won. Soul or not, you know what I mean? I never seen an old book where that ain't happened. So, and now I remember taking a trip, literally, figuratively, and seeing music in different shapes. And it makes sense that when they say tongue is sword, because the non-geometric shapes are really jagged versus the other ones. There's no squares in nature. So I'm going to take heed, because I really believe that now that this life is a daily choice for me to go up on that whirlpool or down. And every day is a choice via whatever electrical thing I'm sending through water. And boy, am I a toaster. And everybody else is too. You know what I'm saying? Going a certain way. And I can see it for my fellow artists. I can see it. And that helps me. So I just send that off to other people who think and hear and read words. It's a choice, and in between is light and darkness. And the whirlpool as above and below, if we believe that life is water, we're at the middle of the two whirlpools every day before we sleep, and make a choice to go up to the clouds, which are water and less dense, or down. And I think we're at that ice wall, but down is just fire, the no water. And every day is a choice to that. And that's what I've learned. That's what I've learned and gotten from this conversation. And humbled down about in sacred circles of talking about monetary systems and sprinkle that in. You know what I'm saying? Good.
Beautiful.
Peace, blessings. One thing I want to say too, I'm gonna leave y'all with, I don't know, maybe something that's gonna tickle your brain. Is our straight lines natural, right? Our straight line is natural. So, yo,
Because you heard it when I said it.
right. If straight lines are natural, then that will be the biggest proof that we are living in a simulation.
Can you see this?
Yes,
This is from nature. This has a stem. There's no straight line on it. There's lines, but as you're saying, no straight
right.
line. So,
So therefore, is everything that has a straight line, is it intelligent design? And
yes.
I only say that because, okay, what is a hexagon?
What you mean? Like,
A hex is the result of connecting straight lines together. So is everything that has a hexagon, is it intelligent design? Is that proof of a simulation? Because think about what has hexagons: bees, giraffes, turtles. Like, yo,
right, like fives. But we can't see ourselves. You can't see yourself right now. Like literally, you will never be able to observe yourself. So upon observation, waves turn into particles. So I think the straight line is the observation of the thing that precedes water. You know what I'm saying? While we're
right?
in it, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that means synthetic periodic table, synthetic pile, right?
Yes. And I was thinking about this the other day because I don't know, I was whatever. I was doing what I was doing, online looking at a fly, like
Like a fly
close,
fly?
looking at the fly, like his face. It's
Oh,
like, oh my God, like a little demon. But I was looking, I, and his eyes were hexagons, and I was like, yo, if they say that a fly only has a 24-hour time span, where do flies go in the winter? And how are they able to come back if they only have it? And how are they able to breed more? If so, I was thinking that because I saw a video. You guys may have seen the same video. There was a video of a guy holding a mosquito, and the mosquito had numbers stamped on it.
but you know that Gatesy Poo is making hybrid mosquitoes.
Right. And I'm thinking, okay, going back to the, keeping it full transparent of this is a simulation. And if it's been proven by, quote unquote scientists, because what's the scientist? If it's by scientists that our environment is nothing but just binary code, ones and zeros, then that would mean everything, including our bodies, is intelligent design. And one of the flaws, how a computer has glitches in it. We have these certain glitches like a Mandela effect, or where do flies go in the winter? Why can pigeons sit on power lines and not be electrocuted? Like, it's certain things you're like, oh my God, that's a computer glitch.
Well, aren't the pigeons sitting on the
Huh?
aren't the pigeons that are sitting on the power lines watching us?
Well, I'm
No.
just going on the kitchen thing. I'm gonna go this because it's very recent and this is real life.
Okay.
I in big building spot, dirty. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, I could see that. I could see that idea, the pigeons. But since I've been in this residence, I've seen and heard baby pigeons cyclically. Okay, and I get ripped up by seagulls. So I know they're real because I've seen. I bring up the ripping up because you know what I mean. So that is one for, yeah, it's a simulated thing, but to what extent? Until we say it is real, because we're in water. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, like
Everything's a simulation. You're right.
Yes. And so, the last thing I want to say, I'm not even going to. The last thing I want to say is that uh, since everything has a code, right? And I promise this is the last thing I want to say because my mind's trying to say more. But this is the last thing I want to say, guys. If everything has a code, right? Your birth is coded, your death is coded. How much of your life do you think isn't coded?
I think all of it personally.
Right.
I
So
don't. He will
Every
exist.
of
Like,
everything, are you programmed to end up at a certain destiny? And that's the last thing I want to say. That's the last thing I want to say because
I'll just say yes. I
Is
just say
that
yes.
is that for them to ponder on for next week?
yes,
Okay.
because think about it. If we've been saying it, you're coded, you're programmed, right? If you're code, if your DNA, your DNA makes up your code, and you're living in an environment that's nothing but binary code. And I know I talk about this every week because I really think this is one of the most important things in our reality. Then what part of that is you freely making a choice, freely saying, I'm making this decision, therefore I'm creating my reality as I go along? And is it part of your program to think that you have free will? Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about
Awesome.
Go study gematria, kids, and then you'll see everything's just in numbers and codes and just see, you know what I'm saying? Boom.
this.
All right, so let's breathe it out. Oh, before we do that, please go to Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and find 5D Mystery School podcast and like it, add it to your playlist, and also give us a 5-star review. That would be really, 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 really appreciated because this will be able to be expanded out to more people who need to hear this information. All right, so
Hey, Yo City with a live. Okay.
What platforms on Apple and what any other platforms?
Right now is on Apple Podcasts, but soon it will be on Spotify and a Stitcher.
woohoo. All right, so let's breathe it out. Deep breath in, exhale out, release on the exhale. Deep breath in, exhale out, breathe in, release out. Continue to breathe. Ashe, have an
Hey,
amazing rest of your strong days ahead.
yes. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We see you next Thursday. And this episode is going to be available tomorrow on the podcast. So make sure you tune in and leave that review. Take care, guys.
Peace. Peace.